Holy cow everybody, can you believe it? We've actually had some Plants vs Zombies 3 news, a game that has basically gone silent for almost a year now. Since the decision to take the soft launch version of the game down last October for major reworks, we heard next to nothing about the progress or whether the game was still going ahead. However, this all changed a couple of days ago thanks to Kyle Dahl, who posted a video on Twitter of some reworked Plants vs Zombies 3 pea-shooter animations. Now, before I show the animation, let's just discuss the credibility of the source and why this is something to get excited about. So, Kyle Dahl is a professional and very experienced gameplay animator who has worked on a range of extremely popular game franchises. Under his belt, he has done animations for Apex Legends, Halo 5, League of Legends, and many more. So yeah, let's just say this guy is pretty damn good at what he does. With all that in mind, I would say the source is very reliable indeed, but of course we do need to take any leaked information with a grain of salt. However, I'd find it very unlikely for someone in his position to post something fake or misleading relating to his work, as obviously it could jeopardize his career potentially. The other piece of evidence I wish to share is a reply to the original tweet by Drucifer saying, "Oh nice, really liking the bounciness you gave to the pea shooter. Honestly thought this project was cancelled after all the radio silence." Dahl later replied with "Thanks, stay tuned ... hinting that we could be expecting to hear something in the near future. Anyway, let's take a look at the animation that was posted. So as you can see here, we have three instances of a pea shooter animation. The first one appears to be the standard idle state, which activates when there are no zombies in the pea shooter's lane. The second one is the almanac animation, and I have to say this one is my favorite. It's such an adorable happy animation, and I love how it's like a heel click, like something you'd expect in Oliver Twist. And the final one is of the shooting animation, which if you look closely appears to be using a placeholder pea projectile, as it's just a green circle at the moment. Now, I thought it only seemed fair that I tried to do a comparison between the soft launch pea shooter animation and this one, but please note obviously the footage on the right is lower quality as I've had to zoom in on gameplay footage. So first up is the idle animation, and one thing I have to say about all of these is that the differences are very subtle, but when it comes to animation it's always the small things that can make a big difference. Now for the most part this first animation seems to be the same, but you will notice that the new pea shooter animation is a bit faster and makes the character feel more bouncy. For example, when the pea shooter bounces, his head squishes down into the stem further than the original one does. Similarly, the second animation again is basically the same with a couple of edits. This includes things like the direction in which the head faces during the jump, the amount in which the bottom leaves tuck in, and there are some additional animation frames when the pea shooter falls back down to earth. You may also notice the head sort of squishes more in the new animation, which gives it a more bouncy and playful feel. Then finally, the shooting animation is probably the most similar to its original counterpart, just bouncier and more polished. I think that's what all of these have gone through. I'm unsure whether Kyle Dahl was the original animator, but it seems like they've re-looked at the animations and sort of tidied them up, making them look smoother and more professional in my opinion. So that's the animation side of it, but let's talk about the visuals, as of course this was one of the most controversial topics of the Plants vs Zombies 3 original soft launch. Now, a lot of the fan base right off the bat did not like the new 3D art style the developers decided to go with. I too was one of those people. However, whilst I'm not completely against the 3D art style, the original models just looked extremely low poly and of poor quality in my opinion. However, as you can see in this video, the quality and poly count appears to be much higher. You also need to remember that these are going to be a lot smaller in the actual game, so for it to look much improved on a large display, it should mean they'll look great when they're on a small mobile screen. I would recommend having a look at the original Twitter post though to get a better impression of the visuals, as YouTube's compression always messes with the quality of videos. Another thing to notice here, that whilst the model of the plant has seemed to have been improved, the actual art style of the pea shooter hasn't changed. So it looks like the devs are sticking with their guns on the art style, however they are improving on what they had. Like I say, I think 3D can work, I just hope the changes here are enough to bring the game's overall graphic fidelity into something that the fans are going to enjoy. Overall, I think you can agree that an updated animation doesn't necessarily mean the game is going to be any better, but at the very least it gives us an indication that they are still working on the game. I also wanted to say a big thanks to Solar Sonia for letting me know about this piece of news. I always greatly appreciate you guys letting me know about stuff that otherwise goes under my radar. Anyway guys, that's about it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed. As per usual, let me know your thoughts on this in the comments below. But other than that, don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons, turn on notifications, and if you want to support the channel further, check out my Patreon page by clicking on screen now or through the link in the description. Okay, thanks guys. Bye. Bye.